Alright, so welcome back for Angle Relationships Day 2. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. First term we're going to talk about is adjacent. Adjacent means when two angles in a plane share a vertex and a side but have no common interior points. So, first we need to know what a vertex is. So a vertex is when two rays come together to form an angle. Where they meet is called the vertex. So the point that two angles come together and they form that angle part, that's where we call the vertex. So in this case, angles AOB AO and B and AO and D are adjacent angles. So the way those are adjacent is because they share a common side. So they both have this side and they have a common vertex. So right there. So that's why these two angles are adjacent. Okay. So they have to have a common side and a common vertex. That's basically what all those fancy words mean up there. So the two angles share the vertex O, so the two angles are adjacent. Alright, so let's take a look at some problems that were assigned Thursday for homework. So this might have been a different day. But we had this problem right here, 135 degrees, and we didn't know this one. So, does this picture have an adjacent angle? So take a look at it. Does anything share a common side and a common vertex, so where two angles come to, or two rays come together to form a point? So they do. So angle EGH is adjacent to angle FGE because they both share this side and G as a vertex. So now it says find EGH. So EGH. So we know that this is a straight line, so we know it's going to equal 180 degrees. And we don't know what 135 is. Or we know 135, and we don't know EGH. Right, so that's what that is right there. So, just like we said yesterday, our angles day 1. FGH is a straight line, so we know that it's 180 degrees. And supplementary angle says that the sum of two angles equals 180 degrees. So, since we don't know what EGH is, we will call it X. We can call it any variable we want, A, B, C, D, but I'm just going to call it X. And so we're going to write the equation. So that was the equation we just wrote over here that I erased. And that was 135, so that was my first angle, plus X, my unknown, equals 180, because it's a straight line. So let's solve the equation. So we want to isolate X, so we got to get rid of that 135. So subtract 135 from both sides. I'm left with an X on the left. 180 minus 135 is 45. Oops, sorry. It's 45 degrees, so your X, your unknown, right there is 45 degrees. Alright, we're going to find XWY now. So I want to find XWY. So we need to write out what we know. So since we have a straight line, we know that WZ has an angle measurement of 180 degrees. And since they told us the left angle was equal to 90 degrees because of the box, we know that XWZ is 90 degrees because 90 plus 90 is 180, which is my straight line. So complementary angles say that the sum of two angles equals 90 degrees, so we can write an equation. So I don't know what this is. I know this is 29, and I know the whole thing is 90 degrees, so I can write out X plus 29 equals 90. So one-step equation, subtract 29 from both sides. I'm left with X just on the left, and then I'm going to have 61 as 90 minus 29. So the missing angle here is 61 degrees. Alright, now right here, we want to find J and K. So J and K. So again, since we have a straight line, we know that NL, so right here, equals 180 degrees, and the left angle equals 90, which means JNL also equals 90. So we can write the equation. This will be my x. Here's my 38. The sum of those two complementary angles equals 90. So x plus 38 equals 90 degrees. Subtract 38 from both sides, so that equals 52. So that is 52 degrees. Alright, now let's find M and L. So let's take a look at this one. So we have to use our knowledge of vertical angles to solve this one. So we know that these two are directly across from each other. So because this line and this line intersect and cross, and we said vertical angles, the opposites are equal. So if this is 38, we know that this one's 38. And now I have a straight line, so I know that from here all the way around is 180 degrees. And if I know that this is 38, I can write an equation to figure out what that missing angle is. So, since the opposite angle equals 38 degrees, we have a straight line. We can write an equation to find the missing angle. So x plus 38 equals 180. We're going to subtract 38 from both sides. We're going to get x equals 142 degrees. Another way we could have figured that out is with vertical angles as well, is we could have said that we know that from here to here is 90 degrees, and we know that from here to here is 52. And so since these cross each other, you know that whatever this pink angle is going to be whatever opposite this is. So 90 plus 52 equals 142. So that was one other way we could have done it. Alright, let's find this. So now, straight line, we know that it's 180 degrees. So that's what it says right here. We know we can add those two angles together. Now we'll have 2x plus x equals 180. Now we have like terms, because a like term is just something with the same variables raised to the same power. So if I have 2x's here and 1x here, those combined make 3x's. Now I have 3x equals 180. So that means I just need to divide by 3. So x equals 60 degrees. Now, that's only going to tell me one of my angles, the one that just has an x. But this one over here has a 2x. So I need to substitute that back in. So now that we plug the x value back in, we discover the missing angles are. So this one says 2 times 60, because x was my 60, so that's 120 degrees. This one was just x, so that's 60 degrees. So we plug those in, and that's what my two angles are. Alright, so that was the conclusion of that. So this was the past homework. So hopefully that gives you a better understanding of what's going on with the angles.